When you think about the ocean, it's easy to forget the sheer, raw power hidden in its depths. So today, we're going to track one of nature's most incredible phenomena. And we're not just talking about some big wave here. We are following the entire life of a tsunami, a journey of immense energy that starts in the dark, silent deep, and ends with just unbelievable force. And yeah, that brings us to the central mystery we're unpacking today. How on earth can something travel across an entire ocean so stealthy that a ship could sail right over it without noticing a thing, and then bam, it rears up and becomes one of the most destructive forces on the planet? Okay, let's dive in and figure this out. All right, first things first. We have to get our heads around what a tsunami actually is. Because honestly, comparing it to a regular wave, that's like comparing a little campfire to a raging wildfire. The difference is it's fundamental. And it all boils down to where the energy is coming from. And get this, the name itself gives us a pretty chilling clue. It comes from the Japanese words tsu, which means harbor, and nami for wave, a harbor wave. It's a name that tells you its true, terrifying power isn't really felt until it reaches its final stop, the coast, the harbor. Okay, and this is where you really see the mind-blowing difference. A normal wave, the kind you see at the beach, is made by wind. It's got a pretty short wavelength, and all its energy is right there on the surface. But a tsunami, wow, its wavelength is enormous. We're talking hundreds of kilometers long, and its energy goes all the way down, through the entire column of water from the very surface to the deep seafloor. That's the key takeaway here. It isn't just a surface thing. It's the entire ocean on the move. So where does all of this incredible energy even come from? Well, it all starts with something really sudden and really violent happening deep, deep beneath the waves. So most of the time, it all kicks off with a massive underwater earthquake, something big, like a magnitude 6 or higher. This quake literally shoves a gigantic piece of the seafloor straight up, and in doing so, it displaces a colossal amount of water above it. Seriously, just picture dropping a giant rock into a pond. Gravity takes over, and all that displaced water has to go somewhere. So it travels outward in these huge waves of pure energy. And this is where the story gets really sneaky. That energy is now on the move, starting a silent, high-speed trip right across the open ocean. And when I say high speed, I mean it. How fast are we talking? Up to 450 miles per hour. Just think about that for a second. That is literally the cruising speed of a jet plane. It's just an unbelievable amount of energy, absolutely racing across the ocean. But here's the crazy part, the paradox. Because all of that energy is spread out through the entire depth of the deep ocean. On the surface, the wave itself might only be a foot or two high. A ship at sea could pass right over it, and the crew might just feel a gentle, long roll and think nothing of it. That's why, strangely enough, the safest place for a boat is out in the deep water, far away from the coast. The threat is almost completely hidden, a silent monster just biding its time. But then, as all that energy gets closer to land, everything changes. The silent journey is over, and the monster is about to wake up. So, as the wave approaches the coast, it hits the shallower water of the continental shelf. The front of the wave starts dragging along the seafloor. It's kind of like hitting the brakes, And the whole thing starts to slow down, and slow down dramatically.
But remember all that energy that was moving at the speed of a jet? It has to go somewhere. The energy in the back is still moving super fast, and it starts piling up into the slower water at the front. So it gets compressed, it gets concentrated, and it has absolutely nowhere to go but up.
And this image, wow, it just shows that transformation perfectly. All that energy that was spread out over miles of ocean depth is now getting squeezed into a much smaller space. And that once invisible ripple on the surface, suddenly and very dramatically, grows into a towering wall of water. And in the biggest tsunamis, we're talking about a wall of water that can reach 100 feet or even more. That's like a 10-story building made of water coming right at you, an absolutely staggering scale. Now, let's see what happens when that force finally makes landfall. So now the harbor wave finally lives up to its name. It arrives at the coast not just as a breaking wave, but as a relentless, unstoppable surge of the ocean itself. And what arrives is just devastating. It might not even be a giant wall of water at first. Sometimes the initial sign is just a strange, rapid tidal surge. But what is so crucial to understand is that it is rarely just one wave. A tsunami is almost always a series of waves, which is a critical piece of information, because the first one isn't always the biggest or the most destructive.
And really, the best way to picture this is right here. It's just like the ripples you see when you throw a stone into a pond. One wave comes, then another and another. And this is exactly why the danger from a tsunami is far from over after that first wave hits the shore.
So there you have it. The life of a tsunami is this incredible journey from a hidden trigger deep in the ocean to a visible, devastating force on land. It's such a powerful reminder of the immense energies that are constantly at work on our planet, often completely out of our sight. And that kind of leaves you wondering, right? What other hidden forces are shaping our world right now, just beneath the surface?